Man. Now,
That's my guy. He
talking
gonna
about
have a great
reading.
year this year.
BA, yeah, man. I wish I would have drafted him. 30
I had
seconds.
you, man.
But talking about reads, we gotta take it on down to Baltimore, dummy. You understand? Okay, we're gonna put a little nougat on your two. I can't say too much because I don't know what that really means. But for all my Baltimore people, man, look, we gotta talk about these Ravens versus the Bengals. And of course, we gotta do the recap on it, man. You know, this is one that kind of threw me off at first. We was talking in the chat. We was kind of like, "Hey, who did we all pick?" And I was like, "I think I picked the Ravens." And then I said the Bengals. I was like, "Nah, I was watching that game. I was rooting for the Ravens too hard. I knew I had to pick the Ravens." Yeah, I turned my Bengals card in last year. You know, once the Cowboys made the playoffs, I said I got to ride with my team from here on out. I ain't doing this no more. AFC North, you got to fight with yourself. So for this one, I'm gonna start it off, and I want to say this first things first. The Ravens are exactly the team that fits their city's narrative. Like they just make something out of nothing. They wear Under Armour. They trying to steal new news, but it is what it is. And their team motto is from the game. I mean, from the wire. The game is the game. Because that's how Lamar treats it. He's like, I don't care who I got out here. If I'm out here and I'm healthy, I'm gonna make something happen. And that's just what he's doing. I know we talk about his numbers and we talk about his playoff record, but this guy's one of the most disrespected quarterbacks right now.
Yes.
Look, even when they did that panel and Pops, shout out to Pops, shout out to Chris, shout out to Ty, shout out to Carl. But when they said Lamar Jackson does the same thing as Mahomes with equal or less talent, I had to go back and think about it. Now, Mahomes is more dynamic with the football as far as throwing it, and the way he throws it is all crazy, you know, the circus passes that some people want to call it. But Lamar does it with less talent and yet still finds ways to beat quality opponents. Look at their division. There's no way that Lamar should have the record that he has against the Bengals. I think they're like, what, 4-0 or something like that. I don't got it up right now, so don't charge it to my head. Charge it to my head and not my heart. But at the end of the day, when you think of that division, the first two teams that come up is the Ravens and the Steelers, and Lamar is one of those reasons in this decade. Nelson Aguilar actually caught a pass yesterday.
Yeah,
that's all I got to say.
6-2.
That's all I got to say. Zay Flowers. Come on now. God. I know y'all seen that. Catch.
That boy is nasty. Oh my goodness.
He's set. Lamar got his money. He got his receiver. Now all he got to do is just keep adding pieces around him from here on out. That's what it is in Baltimore. So to me, the Bengals, they should have never rushed Burrow back. That's my 2 cents on that. They rush him back too quick and it's throwing off his chemistry just a little bit. We got some people ready to say Jamar Chase ain't one of the best wide receivers because of how his quarterback's feeling. It is what it is. They 0-2 in the division, so they need to bounce back. But for me, how the Bengals need to reshape it is we've seen this movie before. However, just like in the Fast and the Furious series, there's always new villains and there's always a big and better plot. So hopefully they can bounce back like Vin Diesel and make it interesting. But for right now, man, the Ravens are the team to beat to me. Joe?
Lamar Jackson is the second best quarterback in the NFL. We just don't know it yet. He's going to prove that this year. The only reason why he's not considered the second best quarterback is because of his injuries the last 2 years and playoff success. But I think this year he's going to set the world on notice that I'm right behind Mahomes. All right? I'm closer to Mahomes and all these other dudes you're talking about. So the Ravens, like Tomo said, I'm going to go where you're going. They're a type of team, when I watch them on TV and the game kicks off, and you like, who you think gonna win? The Ravens or who are they playing? You can't convince me the Ravens gonna lose. Like, I don't care who they playing. Like, okay, is it gonna be the Ravens or Bengals? I mean, how can you prove to me they're gonna stop Lamar? How you gonna prove to me the Ravens gonna lose? Because one thing that Lamar always had, that Patrick Mahomes didn't always have, was a great defense. Lamar always had a good defense whole career, except for 1 year when they were injury riddled in the beginning of the season. But this year, once again, another good defense. I look at the Bengals, right? I was watching that game, and they couldn't move the ball at all. I mean, we talking about punt, field goal, interception. and then they finally get a touchdown towards the end of the game. And they got their first touchdown off a punt return. So without that punt return, it was getting ugly. And I just felt like when I'm watching the Ravens, you talking about Mahomes' backyard football, that's the whole Ravens roster. That's the whole Ravens team right there. And then you get Lamar weapons. OBJ's hurt again, but OBJ is making some good plays. I know the stats don't show it. He forced he had 3 from 29, but he forced 2 PIs on kind of semi bombs. Right, Zay Flowers caught that big pass. They kind of using him in open space. Like you said, Aguilar had some catches, right? And he's going deep with Aguilar and everything, right? So they still got Bateman. Bateman is an afterthought now, but Bateman was a first-round pick, if I'm not mistaken, right? I mean, he was a number 1 receiver last year. So Duvernay, so they legit, man. The Ravens are legit, and the defense are as advertised, and they're not even healthy on the defensive side. Their number 1 corner is not even there right now. So I'm excited about the Ravens, man. I really want to see how far, if this team can get through the year healthy. When I say healthy, I'm talking about Lamar. As long as Lamar out there, if I'm a Ravens fan, I'm like, listen, as long as Lamar out there, number 8, we got a chance to win this game. So, and then as far as the
Preach, Joe.
As far as the Bengals, I gotta disagree with you, Tomo. Now, the first half they looked sluggish, but in the second half they started to pick it up. They started to gain more. They started to get that momentum. Jamar Chase started getting way more involved. T. Higgins had 2 TDs on 2 great throws by Joe Burrow. So they started to catch fire in the second half, and I think this will carry over to the next game. These are the same Bengals we saw last year. Started slow and picked it up later. So I'm not worried about the Bengals still.
Yeah, I agree with that last part that you just said, because they started slow last year. They were 1-4 to start the year, something like that last year, and went all the way to the AFC Championship game. Jamar Chase did not play well in the first couple games last year either. I'm not too worried about how they're going to play right now. I am worried about Joe Burrow because he is my starting quarterback on fantasy. So I wish he didn't throw a pick yesterday. Then I'd have had a better chance. But this is about the game. But I'm the only one in this panel that picked the Bengals to win, and clearly they lost. So, I mean, I picked the Ravens to reach the Super Bowl. So I expected them to be a great team. I just felt that the injuries was going to be the reason why they lost, but clearly that made no difference. That made no difference yesterday. Their backup running back Hill had a pretty good game. He didn't have to do too much, but he did exactly what he needed to do to step up. Lamar Jackson ran the ball just a little bit, but he was still effective. He averaged like 4 yards a carry. You mentioned Aguilar. Aguilar had 5 catches for 63 yards. Zay Flowers had 4 catches for 60 yards. He averaged 15 yards a catch. Odell, we had an Odell sighting yesterday. Odell had a pretty good game. He was averaging just under 10 yards a catch. Gus Edwards had that nice little touchdown in the game. I just think that the Ravens, like Joe said, Ravens are the team to beat, especially in this division. I think they're the best team in this division right now. And they went out and proved it. Lamar Jackson is my vote for MVP, and he played pretty well yesterday.
Just want to remind the people, you still got the Bengals not making the playoffs, right?
Yes, I still have the Bengals not making the playoffs.
And one more thing before we move on. I know the Bengals did start off slow last season, but starting off slow against non-division opponents is different than starting 0-2 in your division, and that division is looking like they're not no slouches. So that's the reason why the concern is there for me.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's true.
They're not winning the division though. they can get out of throw in the bag, throw in the trash. They're not winning the division. Lamar been hurt the last 2 years. That's why they've been winning it. It's called a spade.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, well, I mean, it's time for them to show out and show off. And we got to show out and show off. We got to talk about these other shows we got on our network here. I thought we was just a regular YouTube channel. No, it's a network.
It was
network, baby. Twinkle, twinkle.
A little star, man. Come on. So look, we do like Tomo said. This is not a show. This is not a podcast. It's a network, man. We got other shows that we got streaming outside of the R2L show. And the first one we got is my man BWT. Thank you for staying to the end. If you're watching this on YouTube, please like this video, subscribe, and also hit that notification button so you can be notified next time we put out a video. If you're listening on any podcast platform, subscribe and hit that notification button, y'all, so you can be notified we put out another podcast audio. And last but not least, hit that share button. No matter what you're listening to or watching it, hit that share button and send it to somebody that you know that would love to watch this episode you just listened to. So once again, thank you for staying to the end, and we'll see y'all in the next episode.